What a difference a year makes. On this episode of AI Insights with John Roese, I wanted to give you all kind of a semi-live update of Dell Technologies World this year. We do this once a year in Vegas, and it's the kind of big show where we talk about the entire company and the industry. And a year ago, it was a fantastic show. It was still early in the AI cycle. We were starting to see early examples of customers going into production. We had some great customers come up on stage and talk about their early projects. But they were mostly what I'll call Gen 1. They were chatbots and assistants, and that was pretty fascinating, and they were having huge impact. And the infrastructure industry was somewhat disorganized. You didn't have enough tools and technology to do AI wherever you wanted it a year ago. So here we are in 2026, and it is a very different world. The two biggest things that have happened that were really on display here, first is that the world has shifted to agentic as the primary AI modality, if you will. We have moved beyond just building chatbots and assistants, and we are now digitizing work, and we are putting it into production. And even though it's still early, the entire dialogue has shifted to how do I bring agentic capability into the enterprise to not just augment people with tools, but to actually shift work into full automation. And sometimes that work is very simple, sometimes it's very complex. And so we had customers up talking about their early experience. I talked a lot about what we're doing at Dell, but there was this complete pivot, which I think maps to everything we've talked about on display. The second piece, though, is the important one, and that is that over the last year, as I've talked about, we've been spending a great deal of time with our ecosystem. We've been bringing more companies that provide pieces of infrastructure, and we've been enhancing our product portfolio to make sure that as you go into the agentic era, you actually can do it wherever you want in a secure, controllable way that actually gives you the ability to build that hybrid distributed architecture to simply make your AI work in the right way. One thing about agents is that they are a manifestation of work. So it is incredibly important that they live where the work is happening. And that means that they don't just live in a data center. They don't just live in a cloud. They live at the edge. They live on the device. And so when we look at what our announcements were, we have frontier model companies like Google. We made a big announcement about Google Distributed Cloud on-prem on Dell hardware, so you can bring foundation models directly into your data center, and you can even air-gap them completely. We had other model providers signing up and showing new harnesses and new capabilities to extend into the physical enterprise, into the data center, into colocation, into the edge, into the device. We showed frameworks that would allow us to move directly out onto the device. The GB10, GB300 now have personal agent frameworks around them, and they are integrated in a way that we can, in some of these systems, deploy trillion parameter models at incredible speed and do it directly next to the place where the action is happening, whether it's a developer or a hospital theater. Any number of things can be made AI enabled where they need to be enabled. And then on top of that, I think we've moved a bit into an adjacency where we realize that the compute side, I think we have very well covered, but the data side is still kind of messy. It's hard to prepare your data and organize it. So the AI data platform architecture has expanded. And what we realized is that you can't have a data architecture that is completely decoupled from your compute architecture in the AI world. And so one of the important things that we demonstrated and we're showing people is just because you can deploy a vector database independently does not make it matched to the AI compute that you're deploying. And so things like the AI data platform and some of the integrations we've shown actually are taking advantage of the acceleration of the GPU environment, that now the data platform and the compute platform are not two different things in different swim lanes. They are connected together and they're operating at the same speed, and that speed is fast. Across the board, it's been a great show, a very important, I think, moment where we have entered the agentic era in our consciousness. We are now prioritizing it as an industry, but we are now seeing the ability to deploy infrastructure that is optimized for agentic, both at the compute layer and how the data and platforms exist on top of it. And they're able to do it in a fully hybrid distributed environment, which gives the enterprise significant choice to put their workloads where they belong and to optimize them for performance, scale, compliance, and cost. So it's been a great show. I think all of this is a culmination of work that I've been sharing with you over the last year. It does characterize kind of a break point that going forward, it's all about how do we bring autonomy of work into the world and do that with AI and do it in a distributed hybrid environment that is properly matched to where that work needs to exist. So thank you very much. It's a great week. I'm tired and I'm going to go hopefully have a little downtime after I get home.